Look at that. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Good morning to you.
Timing. I just switched over and hit record.
Oh, there we go. Are
So
you
is that like going to be too distracting
no, I think it's good.
as I'm in front of it?
Oh, somebody has seizures or you know, like my wife.
Right. So where do
Okay. Oh gosh.
actually I'll bring this up first. I have in my garden, you know how you mulch it? You either put straw or something on it. Well, we have really high winds here a lot because we're in the desert. So I tried straw and it would blow all over the neighborhood and other things. So I finally found pine needles. And when you buy them, they're about this long. And I first put them out there, but I found that they're just like too large to deal with. So I said, well, I got a paper cutter. Let me see if I can cut these up. So I did. And then over time, I just got a better paper cutter. And so when my shipment comes in, I'll take, a few hours and listen to an audiobook or something, just chop it up. Pieces about that big, and then they wind up perfect. And so I got this box a couple weeks ago. It's been sitting out there. I've been needing to do it. And what was it? I think it was Saturday. Yeah. I thought, well, let me do half of the box. I knew that'd take like a couple, 3 hours. And you're just chopping it, chopping it. So I was listening to Nathan Reynolds. He has his book on audiobooks. I thought, oh, I'll listen to that instead of having to read it, right? And so then the next day rolls around. Chris goes out camping. I thought, well, let me finish up that box. Another half. And it took me 3 hours the day that, or 2.5, 2 to 3 hours. So the next day, I had the part I remembered some part stuff and I wasn't too terribly anxious or anything, but I knew I needed a TED Talk. So I thought, well, let me go do the TED Talk. Did that, but it didn't have a whole lot of oomph to it. And I was like, that's okay. And then I was like, well, let's go out and chop the stuff. And so I get everything all set up, as I'm getting ready to put the earbuds in to listen to more of Nathan Reynolds' book, my parts are like, do you think we could chop up our perps? And I went, well, yeah, I suppose if that's what you want to do. So I took the earbuds out, didn't even get it started. I was like, yeah, no problem. So I get out there and I said, as long as we're safe, you keep an eye on your hands. And Eliza's like, oh, I know how to use a chopping machine. Don't worry about that. You know? So, and actually, I think she was the one that recommended it.
I'm sorry, who recommended?
Eliza, the
Oh yeah.
executioner with the guillotine and the Livy with the chopping machine. So anyway, we get started. And so all these parts are coming up and we're just chopping away, moving and chopping it away. And I'm making sure that my fingers are fine, which I do anyway. But I thought, be even more vigilant because we got stuff going on here.
That's right. That's right.
And and so everybody had like 5 or 10 to just chop their face off and their hands and chop their dicks off and just one by one the parts just started rolling through in just this random order. And I got done and I looked at the clock, John. I had the same amount of work, but I got it done in 1 hour. And
See,
everybody's
super
just
chopper.
having a grand old time. It
Wow.
was like, wow. And then I still had this little pile left over. It was ones that had long ones that had blown behind the shed. And so I had raked them out a few weeks ago. I thought, well, let's chop those up too. I thought, well, wait, let me go get my list and check all the parts and see who got missed. And so I made a mental checklist. There was like 10 or 15. So, okay, guys, you guys are going to do this last batch. Yeah, got it done in about 10 minutes, but they were all just, yeah, let's just chop them, chop them, chop them, chop them.
Beautiful.
It was the best TED Talk I ever had. It was a chop talk. Yeah, it was really cathartic somehow, but I just remember looking at the clock going, wow, I got done twice the time. And I wasn't sore. Didn't because usually after doing that for a couple of days, 4 hours or whatever, I'm usually sore, and I'm not. So I was like, that's bitching. I'm gonna actually shut this a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I'm conscious of having to be in front of it and
Yeah.
thinking about what I'm talking about. Anyway, so
Okay. There we go.
this in my face.
I mean, for purposes of filming, that's right.
Yeah, so that was really mind-blowing. And I got to thinking, well, anybody could do that with any chore. Like if you had to go out and dig a hole for your garden, or do some, take a fence apart. Because I remember one time years ago, I was really mad about Chris's ex-wife. She had just gone over the top with something, and Chris wasn't really bothered by it. I was just livid. And we had a pergola over our back porch. And the pergola was kind of falling apart. It'd been there 30 years with the desert sun, and it was cracking, and it didn't give us any shade anyway. And I thought, well, I want to rip the top of the pergola off and just drape some shade cloth over it. And I screwed it down. So I crawl up there and I start ripping these pieces of wood up. And it was all my anger and rage about Lisa. And so when I was chopping, I got to thinking about that. I thought, yeah, you could do any activity like that where you get to demolish something
There you go.
and pretend that it's your perps.
Good.
And I thought, wow, we got to tell people that, don't let it just be, be angry, or you're going out to dig a hole. Because like I said, the first day I just listened to the Nathan Reynolds podcast. And it was no big deal. I'm just going along. But imagine had I done parts work for both of those days, how much they could have gotten out. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So the next 6 months from now, when I gotta do that again,
That's called being good and angry.
oh
Getting
my
good.
goodness, they were just visualize. I'm having all these just images come up, and this purpose, the pretty girls got their noses chopped off and their ears chopped off. And they said, there, you beautiful now. And they're just screaming at their perps while they're chopping. I was like, wow. And I didn't even have to make a sound. It was just the chopping motion
Yeah.
got it. That was cool. So
Well,
I
that's
just wish I
beautiful.
had more to do.
I feel like that, right? I mean, there's so many different Psalms, even Psalm 3.
Oh, the
When
stomping of the grapes.
okay, well,
Yeah, and I thought, well, I need to get back on my bike. So as I'm riding my bike, I can stomp on
okay, that's perfect.
them.
But in the English, it only catches so much of what is really trying to. So, in case anybody wants to wonder, is this a godly endeavor? Of course it is. So, yeah, stomping the grape, you can't get better than what you just referenced, right? But
Yeah,
um, Psalm chapter 3, verse 7. Now, David's talking about the rebellion of his own son. So this
yeah,
has, although
yeah.
he was a little conflicted, but right. So it says, slap all my enemies in the face, shatter the teeth of the wicked. So the word slap has a bunch of different meanings: slay, ruin, inflict, kill, attack, smite, strike, shoot, and beat.
Yeah, I like all those.
So we're just quoting scripture, in all sincerity,
Chop their noses off.
right? Chop's gonna go right in there. So know.
Yeah, I was really taken aback. I thought, well, because I for some reason I wanted to check the time before I started because I thought, well, I didn't really keep track of the day before. So I want to know for in the future how long I could allocate for this. And an hour. And the day before it took like 2.5 hours. And it was just this smooth, just releasing of rage. It was cool. I'm excited about it. Oh,
Okay, well, yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's
yeah. Anyway, so let me think. I had finished. Oh yeah, I finished Dylan in August, and I sent you those sheets. So what I'm gonna do is for each event, I guess what I'll call an event, an emotional
or an
grouping of
incident
parts,
or
is
an
create that because they liked seeing it. They were like, wow, yeah, that's cool, you
yeah.
know. And So I got a lot of work to do.
Um, or if you want to call it an incident, because thinking how it's an illegal act
Incidents.
there.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. It is more of an incident than an event. Yeah. So I guess I'll go into the journals and then I can go take it from there. So this is just a real quick one. Oh, I suppose I should share. I always forget.
No, the work you've been doing is excellent, excellent.
Oh, thank you. Um, so this was just, I think after our session, I just saw a woman with a witch-like face and a black hat peeping around a door, and I could only see half of her face. I think that was from when Jesus came into me and scattered the witches, and she had run off and was peering around to see if he was still around. So that would be, I think, Sarah, now that we're talking, because at the time I didn't have any idea. And then after that, I saw two other faces, all of women, or I saw, actually, it was more than two, it was several.
Oh, so they all scatter, but now they're peeking around the corner.
So I think so. And then all of them were glaring at me. And I think that's when they had sent Angie and Mary to come pick me up and take care of me and deal with me because they were too chicken to do it themselves. So there was that. And actually, I can turn this now. It's a little awkward sitting sideways at your desk.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and then the next one, it's not a huge amount of journal activity. So it's having that song run through my head by Whitney Houston. I get so emotional. I think that's what it's called, so emotional, or maybe just emotional. It was released in 87. I had to look that up to think, well, what uh incident, is that what you said, the word incident? So what
That's-
incident would that be? I thought, well, that would have to have been after the army. And so I got to thinking about that. And all of a sudden, I'm getting the impression that Eden had this song played as well. When she was there, just three boys and one girl they would zap me with the taser on the lyric, "Ain't it shocking what love can do?" So they were using constant different meanings. She said it was after that that the Hall and Oates song "Rich Girl" came along. And while I was trying to memorize that song, being abused is when they were calling their friends the friends, the sorority. When all those people showed up, it was when the Love Shack started playing and I was abused.
so they call say, hey, that's why incident is the correct, right? Critical incident and incident report. It's the actual technical term. So here they call a bunch of people, hey, you want to perpetrate a felony? Come on over. Oh, they're all,
That's exactly what it was. Yeah. And I think on the call when they said, "Hey, come on over to the Love Shack," was like their code for that.
we're gonna go
And
rape
I
somebody.
was so focused on memorizing the song because they told me if I got it right three times in a row, then I could leave. Well, that never happened because then the whole sequence of events with their frat brothers and sorority sisters happened. So anyway, I said I had a hard time sleeping. Oh, that night after I got home, I'll put after.
Which speaks to how many psychopaths are in these sororities and fraternities.
Mm-hmm. So I said I had a hard time sleeping after I don't think I got home until about 4 in the morning or something like that. I remember waking up and calling in sick and going back to sleep. It was after I got home and several days went by that I asked Mom to put lotion on my back. That's when she said to me, "My God, Diana, it looks like you've been whipped." And I remember saying to her, "Really? Isn't it just from me scratching? I think I've had an allergic reaction to something, my front personality." That's what I thought. So I don't know if that's a separate part or just my front part, Krista. So now I know when I do Eden's, I need to break down Eden more. She's gonna have more parts because I
Yeah.
don't remember the whipping part. She's telling me right now that's when I had to be the horse. They were whipping me. And so there's a lot more to Eden's story. I said it was after that. boy and I came out of the room and we joined the other people in the party, he had the dog collar and chain on me. That song came on. And when he heard the word shocking, he suddenly remembered that there was a taser under the bar that someone had left there, one of the mobster dudes, because I think that's where his dad and his dad's buddies hung out. It was like a bar with clubs room slash party place. He ran over and fished around and found it. The song was still playing, and as one of the boys raped me on the lyric shocking, he zapped me. He did that 3 times during one song, each time on the lyric shocking. That is when the granddaughter got the idea to play rich girl and torment me. But I think it had to have been, she had to have had it in her mind or done it before because she had them printed out already
It
with the
there.
corrections.
Yeah.
So, and I think to myself, back in that day, who had computers and could print it out like that? Maybe mobsters had the Forerunner computers and could do that, but so yeah, it was either prepared in advance for me or they had already done this to other people. I said
Probably.
that's what I think. That song must have played about 8 or 10 times. I remember one of the boys complaining that he wanted to hear something else, but the girl said, no, not until she gets it right. Even though I was given the promise to be able to leave once I got it right, that was a lie. They were using that song while they were making phone calls to bring their friends over. Once their friends were there, then the Love Shack played as I was abused and made to be a horse. It was after and I just now felt the itch on my back. So I was whipped then as well, like a horse. My parts are telling me. Oh, Jors.
See, we could put Chris's skills to work, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could go pay some folks a visit.
Yeah, it said it was after that. It was about 3 or 4 in the morning, and things slowed down, and I was driven and threatened, driven home and threatened. And then all of a sudden I remembered, like, if Chris walks into my room in the middle of the night, I get startled, I jump out of bed. And I never really thought about where that might have come from. I just thought, probably from one of these hundreds of experiences.
Yeah.
But it hit me where it came from. It goes with Rocky, or Riley's his new name. When we were at my grandma and grandpa's house, and this was why I chose him to do my next expansion of parts on, because I thought, well, obviously you're ready. This was the beginning part, startle. And I'll get into that in a second. And then the last journal is, yeah, this was fascinating. So as I'm doing body issues on the health checklist, I started with Riley's group, and that flowed into Tallulah. So it was just this massive string of like 27 parts. Says I'm getting filled in on the story. So I'm trying to figure what are your physical issues for each one.
Wow. Okay.
And I wish I had done this before with other parts, because I know as I fill out these checklists, I get these memories of, oh, you were barefoot. Well, thank you. Oh, and I've never taken the time to dictate it, but this time I thought, oh, let me dictate it because there's a lot going on here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Says we were at Grandma and Grandpa's house and we went to bed around 7 or 8 o'clock because I got to thinking, I'm 6 years old. I'm not staying up all night until 5 in the morning. I thought, well, they must have put us to bed. Whatever they did with mom, they did with mom. And then they came in. We were awoken around 10 or 11. I was startled. I froze. So
Yeah.
that was the startle instinct, because we're peacefully asleep in bed and they just barreled in the room. Get up. Need to get out of bed. Wake up. And I was just startled and I froze. And Graham's like, get on your robes. Take your pajamas off. Get on your robes. Blah, blah, blah. And I wasn't computing. I was just froze. And so she grabbed my wrist and my arm and yanked me out of bed. I was like, oh my goodness. I said, Grandma grabbed my wrist and arm and jerked me up out of bed. Then there was shouting and lots of commotion about being naked and getting our robes on. Undress and get our robes on. Then we were led down the stairs, which were dimly lit. When I was getting my robe, somehow I hurt my knee. And I went, oh, Grandma shoved me towards the closet and I tripped and smashed my knees. She rips me out of bed and throws me towards the closet because Angie and Mary are already up and moving. So that was another thing. Oh, another knee issue. So as I was going down the stairs, I was doing it very carefully because my knee was sore. And
Oh,
Mom was behind me. She was like
just
a
that's where your mom was with all the, oh, God.
Yeah, I think that she probably stayed up with them until she was getting ready to go to bed, and they probably gave her something because she was like, I watched a movie Nathan Reynolds recommended called Detestable. It's a documentary, and you can get it on Amazon, and you might want to watch it. But it's about SRA survivors, and there's this one guy, he had SRA, but it was as an adult. He was, I think maybe in his 20s, and he was in the drug scene, and his friends swooped him up into this, SRA ritual. And he said he was given a drug. He said, I could see everything and I could move, but only because I was being led. He said I was like a child that, or a doll that they had to move around. And I thought, I wonder if that's what these different experiences with people I've seen doing these things, or like at the Nixon thing, the guy was brought out and put in front of me and just stood there while I sliced him up.
Yeah, it's
You
like
know,
a massive tranquilizer.
something, but they're visually know what's going on, and their brain is aware of what's going on, is what this guy was talking about. I was like, wow. Um, and Alan read a story once about a drug that comes from a certain plant down in Mexico, and it's one of those big trees that has the big flowers that hang down from it. It's like an upside down lily, and you can make a compound from that, and it has a similar effect because the news article was about how people were just literally like zombies, walking around. And it caused them to eat human flesh. They would go and attack people and take bites out of people. And that's what made the news story. And I thought, wow, okay. So shoved me towards the closet. So as I was going down the stairs, I was doing it carefully. Mom was behind me. She was like a zombie. We were taken out to the van. Oh, and on that note, I think they keep your consciousness aware and awake. Your body is dead, not dead per se, but it has to be moved by someone else. But your consciousness is awake because I think they want you to be terrified and that terror to be moving through your bloodstream, with your adrenal gland and your adrenaline, so that when they do finally kill you and they drain your blood, they can have that adrenochrome. So I think that's why this drug works the way it does. You're consciously aware and you can see, probably can smell and hear. You just can't do anything about it except be terrified internally. So we were taken out to the van, which was also dark. We got in the van and sat on the cold floor. It was like a plumber's van, except with equipment for the black mass. So it wasn't like a minivan with seats in the back.
Cargo van.
A cargo van. That's yes. I'll just put, I couldn't think of what that was called.
Yeah.
Cargo van. They opened up the back doors and finally there was a little light from oh wait, so we were at the river. I could smell the river as we approached it, and I only knew that from doing this checklist. I'm like, well, what part? So do you have nose issues? Well, I don't really have nose issues, but I can smell the river. And I went, oh, okay. So and so as I did, like I probably got through all of them. That's when I realized I better write all this down. That's a lot of detail.
That is.
And so they opened up the back doors, and finally there was a little light from the bonfires that had been lit. So there were people already there. I think we got there probably around 11-ish. So I'm thinking because the whole big to-do ceremony happened at midnight with the full moon. So I'm thinking they had to put us bed around 7 or 8. We got 3 or 4 hours of sleep. Then we're startled awake, so our adrenaline's churning and we're scared. And they're leading us through they didn't turn on the hall light. We had to do all this stuff in the dark. Well, except in our room, they flipped the light on. But then after we were dressed, they turned the light off. And so we're moving through everything in the dark. I'm like, why don't we have the stairs lit up? What, you know, um, I could smell, I saw the bonfires. The pit of my stomach just dropped out. We were led one way and mom was led another way. Then the dupes were placed on the dupe mat. So that was mom and I think two other wives, two or three, like one or two or teenagers, maybe another adult woman, and then a bunch of children, numbering 13 people. So it was whatever homeless person or orphan or wandering, whoever they could snag, they were the dupes. So because they need, how can I explain this? They need someone like that's how the wives were had their programming instilled was through this ritual. They're raped 13 times. They have a bonfire of a burning child over their head. There's an orgy going on around them. They're being raped, so they get into this, level -20 experience as an adult. And of course, there's made to suppress it. But in the process, they are a part, it's almost like Satan wants an innocent there as a witness, but okay, you're a witness, but now we're going to shove it down. And the wives would be made to become Stepford wives, but the other people, who knows what they did with them. I think right now my part's telling them they were sacrificed. They were,
They have to kill him. That's right. That's right.
yeah, I mean, you don't just release them back out onto the street. So,
Interesting that you called it dupe mats. Did that just come to you, or is that's an
no,
interesting?
it came to me when Melissa interviewed me. And like I said, in the movie Rosemary's Baby, there's a scene with that. It's visualize a pentagram shape with the top part of the star missing. And you lay a person's arms and legs on the 4 points of the star and secure them, and their head makes the fifth point of the star. And so I just it popped into my head when she was interviewing me. It's never left. And I looked up what a dupe means
Yeah.
the other day. I mean, I think you know what a dupe means, right? Someone that's fooled or beguiled or, let me look at it again because I don't remember. Define dupe.
But it's interesting that
Yeah,
it,
person who has been deceived. Uh, there's more to it than that. To deceive or cheat easily, to make a dupe. Anyway, but yeah, so and I looked up that in Google Images, I put in dupe. There's a movie all about it, a cartoon movie for children. It's like, are you kidding me? So anyway, then the dupes were placed on the dupe mask. So grandma, and it could just be what grandma and grandpa could bring out the dupes, or whatever, bring in the whatever. So grandma and grandpa did some sort of opening ceremony with dad standing beside him. Then all the attention was placed on me, which blew me away. I didn't know. And I got very scared. I was led to an altar and was stood next to grandma's neighbor, who is the son of a mason, Corbin. He was to be my husband. And as I married him, I married Satan. They were both my masters. A demon came down and surrounded us and scared the daylights out of me. After that, then the food was brought out, which was a man on a platter. He was placed on the altar after we stepped down off from it. We were made to drink blood and eat some of his flesh. Then the orgy began. The music got loud and the flames were made to
When
get,
he came out, was he already dead?
yeah, at least I hope so. He wasn't moving and his eyes were not open, so. I snuck off to the river to wash it out of my mouth. Then Corbin tapped my shoulder at the river and pulled me to the orgy. He was mad I snuck off. I was supposed to have sex with him, but I was not enthusiastic. He was angry and told me that I wasn't wicked enough or sexy enough. He pushed me to the ground and walked off. That's when I realized I was alone and I snuck off into the bushes and onto the rock. I was quiet and didn't move, wet my pants, didn't breathe when that threesome came by. I watched men, I watched mom raped all night. I watched Angie and Mary and Dad frolic in the orgy and eat human flesh and drink human blood. Sunrise cracked over the landscape and I started to get excited. I could go help mom. Most of the people had left or were passed out. It got brighter and I finally worked up the courage to run out to mom. When I reached her, I shook her to try to wake her, but she looked at me blankly. Then I got smacked across the head from behind. What is going on here? Okay. There was yelling at me, pushing me around and hitting my head. They threw me in the van with everyone else and we went
Know
back.
who was hitting you?
Grandma, Grandpa, Dad, whatever Masonic lieutenants were there because I had outsmarted them. They were looking for me through the night and I had smarted them. They took me to the basement and beat me up with their hands and fists and asked me where I was. I did not tell them anything. Then they used electric shock on me, and I did not tell them anything. I remember Grandma and Grandpa looked tired and frustrated. Grandma said, well, at least we know she won't talk, and so they stopped. It was the next day that they had Corbin and his friends come over and take us out to play and then buried Trip. So I'm seeing how all these events were folding into each other. I had it now, and this is what I learned from the checklist. I had a cut on my lip, and my ear was swelled up from the beatings. I was limping because my knee was sore, and I had a bruise on my arm from where Grandma grabbed me out of bed.
And
I
your
also,
mother, isn't that something? Because isn't that when,
but
right?
that was the next day that they had her drugged for like 2 days and told her, oh, well, you must have just be having a really bad period. Let me give you some Advil. And she
Yeah.
was knocked out for 2 days.
But when your mother saw you, remember, was that the time that nobody came and helped? You were in the pit? They put the lid over
Oh,
then?
yes, yeah, yeah.
You came back out, so your
Oh,
face,
yeah, and I told her. So I wonder if there was a few days in between. It could have been there was a few days in between, or
or she's still seeing you in that condition and it doesn't register.
well, I know that they would smack me in the back of the head. They were careful not to bruise up my face, even though my ear swelled and had a cut on my lip. It wasn't terrible, but where I had the bruises was in my torso, and that's where they would zap me. So, and I was at the age where I was dressing myself, so mom wouldn't have been there, and Angie and Mary wouldn't say a thing. So, yeah, I don't know if I'm making excuses for her or,
No, no, no. I don't think at this point you're making an
but
excuse.
yeah, they were still conscious that mom was, a Christian.
Yeah.
And even though dad had been working on her for what, 6 or 8 years, she still wasn't a cooperative and enthusiastic member of the cult. She didn't even know a cult existed.
Yeah.
So, um,
I was just thinking that she's so out of it that she's staring at you. It's not computing.
mhm. And I said, I also recall the first start of the incident all the way to when we got to Athena and the marriage, I felt like God had abandoned me. Now, this came from the checklist as well. It's a certain number of parts that felt like, yeah, God isn't, I'm doomed. that God had abandoned me. But once he gave me that window to go wash my mouth out and then hid me behind the rock, I knew he was with me. Actually, I may not have known that it was God, but I knew that I was okay as long as I stayed there. And I thought, oh, okay, so the different parts are experiencing different, levels of God, the 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 intercession of God.
Yeah.
I don't think I could had words for it, but I knew I was okay. I wasn't doomed. The despair left me. And that came from doing the emotional checklist for those parts. Because, they went from fear, anger, fear into despair. And then when we hid, then all of a sudden we're back into anger again.
Hmm.
So I was like, oh, so the despair left. God came and got rid of the despair. Um, I remember Athena got a ring and a crown because that's on the checklist. It was when Corbin pushed her over that the crown flew off and he ran off, I think, I don't know, whatever he was doing. I get the vibe that he was going to go try and get someone to come and discipline me, or he was running off to go screw another girl or whatever. I don't know. Maybe both. Um, and also at that same, so when he ran off and I was mad and I ripped the ring off, and that's when I realized, hey, I can go hide. Let me slowly back up, not stand up, but scoot over there so people don't notice the difference. And I went over there and hid and turned into Rocky. Switched into a whole nother part. So that was really revealing doing those checklists. I got all of this out of there. It's like, that's cool. And like I said, I wish I had done that with my other parts, but I think as I do, as I expand the incidents and find the other sub parts, and I have to do their checklist, which is what happened with Athena and Riley, that I'm going to now start, dictating what I learned doing the checklist instead of just going, oh, thank you, and assuming I would remember because I don't always remember. So that was really interesting. What else did I want to show you? And so this is just my list of parts chronologically. And I went through here and I thought, well, okay, I moved the main part
Oh, that's good.
off to the right. And the ones that are in pink, because I watched the rest of Carrie Alahe's, it's a three-part uh thing where she discusses the different types of parts. You've got your normal day-to-day, then you go into your fear parts, then you go into your loyalty parts, and then you go into your, I forget what it is. I actually took a picture of it so that I could and write it down. This is what it was. And she has it just with marker on a sketch pad. She said fear parts, solution part, loyalty parts, and normalcy parts. I should have put normalcy in front of fear. I'll do that right now. Oh, come on now. Anyway, I'll do it this way.
Oh, it's not cooperating, huh?
I'll tell you, John, when I was doing my checklist yesterday, I would notice that I would have my cursor here and all of a sudden it would be there. And I'm going, did I touch the touchpad? What happened? This went on for like 2 hours. And it slowly kept building and building and building. And then it was inserting form. And I was making a point to not touch, to have my hands away from the touchpad. And it was inserting formulas. It was deleting what I was putting in. It was changing colors. Somebody was in there screwing around. And I wish at the time I had thought to say a prayer over it, but I
Oh.
didn't. But I just went, okay, I'm over the target because someone just wants to irritate and frustrate me.
So what did you
It
save it?
it eventually slowed down. Because I don't know, I think because, and I don't know that it's a demon per se, because I know that the government monitors
Yeah.
all of us. So it could just be some little lackey or an algorithm in there creating issues. But once I realized it wasn't me making a mistake and going, okay, what I did was I would save it like almost every minute.
Yeah.
And in the middle of it, I closed everything out, saved it to another location, came back and opened it up. Same thing was going on. And I just said, you know what? It doesn't matter what you do, I'm going to keep going. And it slowly just stopped. It was like, but next time I'm going to say a prayer, ask Jesus to, and even after I was done, and then last night and this morning, I added to my prayers that if Jesus could protect all of my property, all of my electronic equipment, all the computer work, and bind any demons or any human or spiritual influence, etc. So I'm gonna have to do that every time I open the computer now because
Uh,
someone doesn't want me doing this work.
Certainly unrelated, but at the same time, right? I'm still working on my thing behind the scenes. It's going on 4.5 months, but I finished. I'm adding some representatives from Geneva College. So it's very
Oh,
interesting.
wow.
All of a sudden, the account gets shut. I've had my account terminated 4 different times for 11
Yeah.
laps,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
different times. It's just surreal.
Mm-hmm. I mean, John, it would literally go from here, but type what I wanted to type up there. Or I would be here typing and it would start scrambling stuff over here. I'd be down here typing and it would highlight a whole line with color. It was just the most bizarre thing. I was like, this is outside
No,
influence.
no, that's right. That's right.
So, and I got to thinking, man, if they fry my laptop, I'm not screwed. I thought, okay, I'll just break out pieces of paper, have a big binder, and start doing it that way.
Yeah, that's right.
But, I was like, oh my goodness. So anyway, she said, well, you start with normalcy. She said, the parts, what are they motivated by? And then, how are they expressed? And then I'm not sure what the descriptor here was, but she says, so basically, distraction, soothing, show, and document. Well, when she got here, I was like, introjects. And she's like, yeah, that is, someone in real life that you're mimicking or I forget how she explained it. I went, oh, there's an actual word for that. Awesome, Carrie. Thank you. So that was cool. And so I just took what she had, with markers, and she has it in a circle. Well, the first thing is in a circle, just showing how you go from normalcy, and then you split and you go into fear, and then you split and you go into solution mode. That's what it was. And then you split and you go into loyalty. You might want to watch this. Their first one in a three-parter, and it's I think it's 20 or 30 minutes. It's not a long one. And so she just goes through and explaining to people the difference between the parts and their motivations and how they're expressed. And I thought, this is practical, useful tool. Thank you.
That's
Because
right.
up until that point, it's been mostly about meditation. And I'm like, But, I know meditation's useful. I think that's what I'm doing I think meditation is when you're having a lovely walk in the forest and there's no
There,
overriding concerns.
there we go.
But, to just sit down and empty your mind, I don't think
It's not going to work,
I
right?
don't think it's useful.
And
Yeah.
what's interesting, the parts would want to come up during the
Huh?
quiet, right? The parts will want to come up during the quiet because they need to come up. So
Right. And then you're saying, oh no, be quiet.
that's
You're smacking them
mind
back down.
that's
And I'm
right.
like, well, no, that's not a good thing. But
That's
this,
right.
I thought, this is practical, that you can see it and it makes sense. And it was awesome. So thank you, Carrie Alahe, if you ever see this. Um, oh, Steve, my God, all right, there's my mouse. So anyway, that's what the pink is, the introjects, now that I know that they have a name. The yellow means I need to talk to this part and expand it's find out what the subparts are, because it wasn't just one part or one incident. So the yellow is what I have to work on. The reds were these actually also need work. But this one is what I've already done. So Caroline, I know what all her subparts are.
And what would you think, by the way, flip it just visually,
Mm,
the primary part, have that
on
left
the
and
left. I
then,
thought about that too, but it was just easier to flip one
oh
over.
yeah, no, I'm not, but see,
I'll do that later.
yeah, 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 okay.
Um,
Because visually, just the
because
way, we're all like,
yeah, yeah, for presentation purposes, I agree. But just in terms of me
oh yeah,
working,
absolutely.
for some reason on the left, to me, it means it's done.
I
And on
got
the
you.
right means it. So yellow, these are all the different parts because every single one of these parts that went into a club, I'm sure disassociated 5 or 10 different times.
Correct.
So, here's, what, 60 parts right there.
Yeah.
Um, and then the ones, yeah, like the ones that I have expanded and blown out. Okay, so these guys are finished.
Wow. Good for
I
you.
know. Here's the one that I just did when I started with Riley. They showed me how it began. It was startled, then the robes, then the stairs, the van, the river, the dupes came out. And honestly, John, I went straight to here. I missed these two parts in the middle. Then Athena, then the demon came out during the ceremony, then the man on the platter, then the serving that they gave to me that I had to eat. Then the savages, that was watching everybody just devour this cannibalistic frenzy. And then I sneaked away. Then I washed my face. Then I was discovered. Pulls me into the orgy, pushes me down. Then Rocky comes and quiet, don't move. Pee pants, bite your tongue, don't breathe. Sunrise, run, smack. Next day, punished. Shocks. So this is all one incident over the course of 12 hours. And like I said, I had it all done. And then I realized, no. I forgot all about the actual wedding ceremony. And I remember, okay, they put me on the altar, and that's when they brought the kids out to put on the fire, because that was their offering to Satan to accompany the wedding ceremony. And then so the children were brought out, hog-tied, hanging off these spits face down. And then they're placed on the fire and they start burning, and I see their
Oh gosh.
skin melt off as I'm standing up there about to be married, and then Athena is born. That's the marriage ceremony, and then the demon, the man, and all of this. So that these were what the 27 parts that came. But it was because I made a conscious,
There you go.
well, it's because Riley showed me the start point,
Yeah.
startled. I was startled. And I went, okay, so we have subparts now. We've learned that from the other two. Okay, let's see. I'll work on you tonight, Riley, but something happened and I had to put it off for a day. But I kept saying, please trust me. I will do this.
Yeah.
Don't, bombard me in the middle of the night. I wanted to sit down with the checklist and break it out like I did for the others. And he's like, okay. And he patiently waited for about a day and a half.
Wow. Dinah, for presentation purposes, it'd be good to have all of that in one block of color, pastel or something. So when somebody looks at that,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I
it's like,
agree.
well, I don't know, something to wear,
Yeah,
kind of.
it differentiates him. I've thought of that too. I just haven't gotten
Oh
there yet.
yeah, no, I listen. Trust me.
Yeah,
Or maybe just like the overlay that you have on the timeline, like SRA, MKU, maybe just entire block of very light pastel, so that
yeah,
this
yeah.
was the marriage ceremony, the entire.
This is, yeah, the marriage ceremony.
There you go.
Um, and it was because I was 6 years old. It was a full moon. I was the sixth generation. My name was Diana. Just something about all of the, everything aligned for that particular thing. And then, okay, so I have, a
What year
trip
were
with
what year
his
were you
parts,
born, Diana? What year?
71 or 72.
71.
71, I think. I
Okay.
have it in my PowerPoint.
So it was the age.
Oh,
Okay.
here, let me see. Athena. I figured out to search instead of scrolling. So here she
Oh,
is.
oh.
Yeah, August 12th. My birthday was the 14th. It was a full moon, 1972.
What movie is that from? Or is that just a picture?
I got it off Google. I'm not sure. I typed in, she didn't want to be the devil's girl. She wanted to be God's girl. So
Yeah.
this is their old picture and this is their new one. And here's all the I inserted this is part of giving them existence. She
Yeah.
startled out of bed.
That's right.
First thing I do is like, yeah, oh, okay, I list out their old names. I figure out how old they are. And then I say, okay, are you guys ready for a new name? And they're like, oh yeah, yeah. So then I go through all of them. They all get new names, and I have this worksheet that I put it on, handwritten with pencil in case, they change their minds from time to time. And then I say, okay, are you ready for a new picture? Oh yeah, yeah. It's not like before when we first started, we talk about, do you want a new name? And they'd have to think about it for a few weeks or a few months. It's immediate now,
Right.
or before when you recommended, well, maybe Lance needs a new picture, not look like Satan anymore. So they know the process, and so when they reveal themselves, they know they're ready for it. And they're like, yeah, let's do it, the whole shebang all at once. And I said, well, don't do it because it's efficient for me. Do it because you're ready for it. And they're like, oh yeah, we're good, go for it. So the filling out all the charts and worksheets, it is their way of communicating to me through them, and like this picture, granted, she doesn't look terribly afraid, but I couldn't find one. It was the hair that no, no, I want this picture. I,
Okay.
I want this one. And I went, okay, fine. You don't want something more? No, I want that picture. And I'm like, okay, good, go for it. So get all their pictures, old pictures first. Well, first I do their names, their age on paper, and then I go in and Google all the images. So you're getting 27 at once. And there's no way I can remember them as I do them. I just save them and file them. And then we go in and say, okay, let's get new pictures. And I'll do all 27 at once. And the funny thing is you'll see how, like here's the robe. There were other robes that were there, but she goes, no, I felt so ugly in it. I want this picture. Okay. And this one, going down the stairs, it's not in the dark, but it captured what she wanted it to capture,
Fine.
and Van. Come on now. There we go. How she had an attitude being in this van, even though it's, seems like a pleasant environment. It was the attitude of this girl that she related to.
Do
You
the
know,
red shoes also mean
I
anything?
know, I saw that too, and I told her, so you know what that means? She goes, yeah. Well, that's what was going on, isn't it? And I went, well, yeah, you're right. Wearing red shoes, the pedophilia. And then this one, I said, you sure you want a picture with you in there? Reflection? No, no, the river. It was the river that I saw, and it had the same curve. It had the little, point going out. And this was as close as we could get a shoot. And most of the time when I hit the right picture, I would get some sort of shudder, a shudder in my body. And I'm like, okay, which one is it here? And we'd zero in, and how you click it and it goes off to the right. Yes, that's the one. And they would shudder. And I'm like, but it doesn't make sense to, they're like, it. No, I relate to it. And I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna question you. They're
Good for
like
you.
dupes. this is kind of how my mom was. Not that she was smiling, but she was certainly drugged and compliant.
Yeah.
And this is actually from a movie about dupes, a cartoon movie for children. Yeah, there's like a gazillion pictures of this character doing all sorts of different things. And we had to sort through which one do you relate to? And it was this one. And then this one, same thing. When we saw this, I still, right now, I just got a shudder, this altar.
Where is that thing, huh?
I don't know, but I typed in altar by a river and nothing clicked, nothing clicked. And finally, I just put in altar, cement altar. My part said type in cement altar, and I did. And there was 5 or 10, and this one freaked him out, just freaked
Oh,
him out.
really?
Yeah, I was like, okay.
So they probably, you wonder where that one, they may have seen that one before.
Mm-hmm. Look at he put 2 minuses. And then this was, you're not going to find a picture of a child hogtied to a stick
Oh, gosh.
being carried,
Right.
but we saw lots of image of a child by a fire, but this one he related to because of the way the fire was just shooting out like that. He goes, yeah, it was big, it was huge, it was in the child at first I looked at this is what I looked up first.
Yeah.
An
Yeah.
animal on a spit. I thought, well, can we find something close to that? And it kind of related with this, so because they're one right after the other. And again, each one of these gives me a little bit of a shudder. And then here's, as we're on the altar being married, the demon coming down. This is not quite captures it exactly, but it's kind of close. And it's not like, it's dark on dark in the real world. And then this is a man laying on a table. And I saw him the other direction, but the part shuddered with this one. So I went, okay. And then this was they were cutting up the human body. This is an actual roast, but it conveys what I needed it to convey. This is when they put my portion on a plate and gave it to me. It was about that size. And this is all the other people eating it. I think I typed into Google group of people eating raw meat, and this one just seemed the most disgusting and savage. Without getting Google blacks out those graphic images. So but the part shuddered with this one. And then, sneaking away. Um, this is when he grabbed me from behind when I was at the river and then drags me off to the orgy, and then shoves me down. And then Rocky's born. You've seen that image before, and there's his story. Okay, we gotta be quiet as a mouse. Don't move. Wet my pants. Bite your tongue. Don't breathe. I think this is a movie poster. And then sunrise comes, and the part remembers when the sunrise came up, she finally felt, I don't know if hope is the word, but she saw the beauty of God finally present. And that's when she started working up her courage, that first sliver of light. Then her courage started coming back. Started coming. She all night long she wanted to go run and help mom, but she knew God was like, no, don't move, don't breathe, don't just stay right here. And finally, it was like God saying, okay, start working up your nerve. And when the sun got brighter, that's when she finally, ran. Okay, it's bright enough. I can go run out there, and then get smacked. And then the next day punished with more smacking, electric shocks, and then the incident ends. And then I think between that part and this part here, a trip is the period of time where Maybe it was a day or two. Mom was drugged. Um, oh, is that where my teeth got screwed with? Maybe so. I put that after Trip, but maybe that happened before Trip. And there's all Trip's parts. But yeah, this is where I told. So mom would have had to have been in a mental state that was enough to hear what I'm saying and try to. And maybe that's why when she wasn't grasping what I was saying, Angie and Mary betrayed me. She went and talked to mom, grandma, and grandpa,
Oh,
and
gosh.
then I got revealed. So maybe her brain wasn't working quite right by then. So yeah, I wonder if this didn't happen before Trip. I always thought it was after. No, because I told about being buried. That's right. So this is the right order. So there has to be maybe a day of time here where mom got to recover for a day or two. She was in a drugged stupor, and I was maybe left alone, and grandma and grandpa and dad were organizing with Corbin and his friends to come over and play and bury me. And then because it was him that had to punish me because I was his woman,
Oh,
kind of
oh, oh,
thing.
okay.
So it was his responsibility to take care of me.
And
So
again,
he was the one that, buried me, screwed with my teeth, electrified me again, so that's that. There had to have been like a day's worth of space. Plus, these people hadn't had any sleep themselves. So I'm thinking they had a day to sleep and left us alone. And I probably slept or whatever while mom was passed out. So but that's yeah, so after they get an old pic, they get a name, they tell me their part name, then they get a picture, then they get a new name, then they get a new picture, then I come in and make their bio page. And once I make their bio page, they feel real and a part of the group now.
sorry.
And now they're saying, we're going to hang out in Lake City. We don't want to be back there anymore. And I'm like, okay. That's the whole point of doing this process. So, and they see me do it and they see, oh, you spelled my name wrong there. Or, it's not a two, it's a 10, or whatever. And I'm like, okay. But as long as I hear them and respond and record, they trust me, I guess is the word. So startle, that's where it all began. And I think on this, I will just leave their page and put the full story as I keep the full story under the main guardian, because the guardian is the one that told me the story, and they were the guardian that kept me from the rest of the parts. And now that the guardian has released their rage, mostly, or done so much work, they're okay, I'm ready to show you the rest. So that'll help me pinpoint which parts, because I know if I look on my list and say, well, okay, so and so, do I want to work on you? Say Poppy. Sophia showed me. Poppy doesn't really show me a whole lot. So I know I need to work on her with Ted and other stuff. And I think once I do that, then she'll expand her. She'll say, okay, here's all the subparts. And the subparts give you the details beginning to end.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
So that's kind of how it's working. Or not kind of how, that's how it is working. But uh this okay, so you got the existence. So they get on here and it started, I'm trying to find a darker way to oh, look at those numbers. See, that kept happening too. Look,
Oh,
I
gosh.
had to go into such format cells so far in the decimal point because of the age. Everything happened so bam, 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 bam. It was incredible. So this is just recording. Do you have a part name with a picture? Great. Do we have journal entries? Yes. Do we have, are you on the cover? Do we have your bio page? Have we, done you on the impact graph? All the graphs. Yes. Okay. So now you have existence. Let's see this. And I stopped doing these two things, the 3D whiteboard. Jon, you saw how compact it was with 180 parts.
Yeah.
I now
Yeah.
have close to 300, and it was just untenable.
That's right. And there
I'm
may be
gonna,
a time, right? There may
well,
be a
yeah, and I'm gonna get, I'm praying and praying and praying that this computer is unrepairable. They give me a refund, and I'm gonna buy a Mac
okay.
and then get that program that you have.
I'll pray about that for you as well.
And same thing here with the mind file with the lily. It was just too much. I mean, I couldn't fit it, and the pictures would have to get infinitesimal, and I couldn't see them. And I thought, okay, well, this is on hold for now. But
There
I
you go.
know the basic structure. All I have to do is just create it and fill it out, and we'll do that at some other point. So this gives them existence. This makes them feel real to me, it validates them. It's not ever going to go away. It's not ever going to disappear because it's right here and it's recorded.
Good.
So should I forget or should I get distracted? I can always go here.
But doesn't it, Diana, it really does speak to who was it again? Derek? No,
Derek
who was probably the
Prince?
CIA plant that went to Oxford?
Derek Prince. That's what
Okay.
I think he is. I
Yeah.
mean, I
That
can't.
the idea of it just makes sense, right? That
Of doing the deliverance and making it
right,
go away, making
right.
it
So
go
if
away,
somebody's going to
which
start
you're
to
thinking,
remember,
okay, it's a demon leaving their body, when no, it's the
it's
part
either
being
got a quote
suppressed
unquote,
even more.
there you go, or integration. So both are going to run counter to what really is going to be helpful, which is this, which is finding them all rather than eradicating them all or wishing them out of existence or
Right. And can you imagine? And this is what keeps going through my head is more and more gets filled out and gets filled out and gets filled out. I can never think of myself the same way again,
there you go.
and it's in a good way. I mean, granted, there were horrors that we walked through the shadow of death, right? But here we are. And I feel like I'm a victory,
See, that's
and to not acknowledge each little step of the way. I'm like, bring it on. If there's 600 of you, bring it on.
see, and that's why,
Just
Diana,
be
you're
patient with me. Give me time. I said, don't bombard me in the middle of the night. The process is in front of the computer. You saw what happened when we fill out the checklist. I'm going to dictate now, and I'm not going to forget those details. And they're like, oh, okay, right on. Oh, see, look
but
at
that, Diana,
that.
that's such a key piece of your message to survivors. It's that mental switch that
Hmm.
goes on to where they're no longer fighting or resisting or feeling they're crazy or fearing that it's the total embracing of the reality of this work and the reality of
You got
this.
to put the work in. Yeah. I couldn't
But
imagine doing this on
you're now so
paper.
comfortable with who you are and all of it
I
that until
am.
somebody can
Yeah.
get to that point, it's going to keep hindering things.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that got changed. See, someone was in here screwing around. Anyway, so this is where they get new life. Okay. I Yeah, do you have a new name? Yes. Do you have a new picture? Yes. Do you have new clothes? And I'll say, are the clothes in the picture, are you happy with those? Most of the time they're like, yeah. But every once in a while, like, I like their expression, or like with the river it didn't have because I said, well, let's put some new clothes on you. Okay. And then this I usually leave blank because I do it in the evening after my prayers. New purpose is put on hold as well because I want them to settle in first and get used to being at the subconscious level in Lake City. That's what Lake City is my subconscious level. And then the old timers are the ones that are now being baptized, after I say my prayers. So more and more of this is getting filled out. But so these things tend to happen down the road. But because of this process, all of this and this happens in one day. And even last night I was actually kind of fried from doing that work. I'd spent 7 hours in front of the computer and I had the frustration with whoever was messing with me. And
Gotcha.
then, by the time 8 o'clock rolled around, I couldn't find anything to watch. I thought, you know what, just go read the Bible, finish the book of Job.
Yeah. Hmm.
So that was cool. And for some reason, even right now in my brain, I think it's called the Book of Lot. I don't even think a Book of Lot exists, but somewhere in my mind,
Well, it could be what's called an apocryphal book, or one that's out there but wasn't accepted
well,
as.
I don't know, but I keep that, I even said that in one of my videos, and now I have to put a correction in there. The Book of Job, not Lot. Is
Well,
Lot
it'd be
even
interesting.
in character in the Bible?
Yeah, Lot is Abraham's nephew, or it goes over to
Oh,
Sodom and Gomorrah. So it'd be interesting to look
oh,
that up.
that's right.
I
Okay.
wonder if there is a book of Lot that
Mm.
is in the occult.
Oh, I wonder. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. Let me jot that
That
down.
has a familiar ring. I bet even if we Google it now, you're gonna see.
Oh, my, don't I?
Yeah, you know what? Let's find out. Who would come up with that term or phrase, the
Well,
book of
and I wonder if it wasn't, part of the distortion of theology that they do.
down? Because
Book
Lot is
of
associated with Sodom and Gomorrah.
Lot.
So if they're going to do the book of Lot, they're going to invert something.
Lot, biblical person. Who was Lot in the Bible? Lot in the Bible. Lot in the so no, I guess there's not a book of Lot.
Yeah.
But maybe there is in
Lot,
the
wait, hold on. There, go down. It seemed like there was a link. Go back up. Sorry.
Lot in the Bible, Lot and his
I
daughters.
almost saw the book of Lot somewhere. Maybe it's down.
Book lot, Etsy. It's a lot of books.
Yeah,
You know what
keep
I mean?
scrolling down. I think I saw the book of Lot.
Oh, here, Genesis Revisited.
And when was that book written?
Mm. Two daughters believing in. Oh, this is fascinating.
Oh, okay.
Product details. Oh, 2015. But that could just be a republication. Maybe it's some
Well,
underground something or other. That's interesting. I'm gonna leave that up and fish around. So
yeah.
anyway, but last night I'm tired, and so I not super tired, but I thought, instead of sitting here watching, Nathan Reynolds or whatever, I'll just go read a chapter of the Bible. Will that take an hour, hour and a half? So I finished Job. I heard Lot in my head, Job. And
Hmm.
I thought, okay, guys, I know we usually have a parts puddle now, but I'm really quite tired. Would you mind if we put it off for a day? And I'm moving from my chair over to my bed, kind of rearranging things. And they're like, but we really want to destroy our prisons. I said, all 27 of you ready to run? Yes, we would. I said, okay, I can do that. What is that, half hour? It won't kill us. I can do that. So I went back over there and sat down and had
Wow.
my list and just a little, notepad of paper. So I had the list of names, but I didn't really have anywhere to write it down. And so we did. Here's Startle. This is the first thing she wanted to do. She wanted to punch Grandma in the nose.
Yeah.
And then the next ones, and they wanted to do it as a group. These three or four, the ones that were in the bedroom and the hallway and the stairwells, they burned the robes. She said, now let's gouge out
Good. I like
you.
that.
So they're handling the and the environment now, not just the environment.
Good, good.
Gouge out the eyes of grandma, grandpa, dad, Angie, Mary, and mom. And now that they're gouged out, let's squish them with our feet. And I said, okay, is that all you want to do? Let's take care of the environment. And like, well, flamethrowers, yeah, let's. So they flamethrowed the perps first, and their bodies ignited the house. And then the house collapsed on the perps, in the perps. It all went down to hell. And while this is going on, Van's, what about the van? What about the van? I want to blow up the van. I said, blow it up. So as the house is burning down, the van just went smash, just blew. I was like, whoa, okay. And then it all got sucked down to hell, and God healed the land. And I think they put meadows in there with wildflowers. And then so the next parts were oh yeah, the river and the dupes, the two together. So when ice picking all the perps eyes, so they're literally going around, there's 50 people there just jamming ice picks in everybody's eyes. And they're
Yeah.
like, okay, we want lava to cover the whole area. So they just watch the lava slowly move from the furthest fire pit to the next, to the
Uh,
next, to the next. Literally, they were counting the fire pits. And when all that was gone, they're like, okay. And you know how lava turns into rock? It doesn't. I said, yeah. So, well, let's just leave it lava rock, and they can all be encased in there. And okay. And so the lava cooks the river to rock. And then Steele, who was with this group of people, she said, I want to join in because I was kind of in that area too. I said, okay. So Steele helped them do that. And this one,
okay.
I put now Tallulah had destroyed her environment before. She used a directed energy weapon. So I left that in there, but she also joined in. She said, okay, lava to the rock. So we did it again. And so now we want to take jet bombs and destroy the lava and the lava encased in rock and jet bomb that to dust. And then the lava, as the lava's going on, she's like, well, what about all the demons that were flying around? I said, suck them into the lava. They have no power. God, they have to say what God says. So the demons got sucked into the lava. So the rock encases it all. And then they said, we went 3 atom bombs.
All right.
Not just one, not two, but 3. So we visualized all 3, with the big mushroom cloud and the whole deal. So that was interesting. And then I'll show you these for the oh, and then this one was Orgy and Push. They did directed energy weapons, 3 different ones. So it was a third part that was with them. I believe it was Jules was a part of this group, and Jules was a part of this group because it was like a transition. And she was in both areas. So all 3 of them, it
Can you
swallows it
note
up.
that somehow, Diana? Because I think that'll be important to share with people.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And and again, because it was about Tallulah's wedding, she's like, I want to help with this as well. So she did. So even though it's only listed under 2 parts, there were 4 parts doing it. And again, Rocky, destroyed his area a long time ago, and he used the lava, which is where I think they got the idea from. He used a llama, claymore mine, and quicksand. And then these guys, 6 directed energy weapons, 1 for each one of them. And this was the interesting thing. They had an organized pattern. One of them did the horizontal across the whole area. One of them did the vertical. Another did a diagonal. A fourth one did the other diagonal. And then the other 2 cut a circle around the whole area. And so they were just very creative with it. I was kind of blown away. And then these guys, sunrise, run and smack, they want to rip out their tongues, cut off their hands and feet. And so now that their hands and feet, they can't talk, number 1. Number 2, they can't stand up or touch us. So they're just laying there without hands and feet. So they're laying there staring up at the god. and we're going to punch all of them in the nose. So now they can't breathe. And then we're going to drop a jet bomb while they watch it fall on them because they're lying there and they can't move and they can't talk and they can't breathe. So it's like, that's pretty creative.
Good.
And then these two was take the electrical leads, they're gonna shove it up grandpa, dad's butts. We're gonna fry them, and
Yeah.
their bodies are gonna catch fire, and that fire is gonna burn the house down. And so as the house was burning down, they were also throwing grenades in there.
Perfect. Perfect.
I'm just blown away at what pops into their heads. And then this one, oh, this was Trip. I've been meaning to tell you these, but these are the ones from before. Like Triff stuffed all those perps in the grave, stuffed them, which might have had room for 3 adults, but he stuffed like 20 people in there, or 10 or something. Now we're gonna fill it with acid, and then they're gonna get eaten by bugs, and now we're gonna have jet bomb the whole farm. You know? With oh my gosh, did I put this in the wrong? Oh, this was Caroline's. I'm sorry, Caroline, I put this in the wrong thing. But anyway, so for Caroline with the bestiality, she's going to incinerate the jackass and tie up the perps, burn them to death, surround them with a wall of fire. They watch as it burns to them because they put the fire around them and it slowly came to the person and they all burned to dust. So I need to fix this.
Yep.
Tattletale Zap and
Want to
two.
do it?
Yeah, I guess I probably should, but it's not always as simple. So I've got to unmerge it. And then I have to cut it. Where's Caroline? Yeah, you're way back here. I should just make them bigger. Rocking to it's Catherine. I thought it was before here. Why don't I just find Caroline? Oh, there she is. Oh, I did put it in here.
Okay.
Incinerate the jacket. Okay, so I need to find my thing, undo that, and put the right one in here. So sorry, guys. I guess maybe you want to do yours again. So yellow means I need to do it.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll do yours again. Maybe they just want to do it again. But see, Tattletale, Teresa has already taken a tornado through there. So the yellows are oh, I just needed to change the color. Yellow means I needed to do it and I filled it out already. And green meant, yeah, anyway. So this one was, oh, pins. She put the leads in Dad's ears, mouth, butt. Because how many parts were there? There was 1, 2, 3. Or no, this was for searches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts. So they wanted leads in each ear, the mouth, the butt, each hand. So it was 6 different leads and fry them to dust and jet bomb the house. Same thing. These are all these parts right here. Which, yeah, see, Poppy's already done quicksand. This one, waterboard dad until every cell explodes.
Good.
But we're going to do it in the lake. And once his body explodes, the fish are going to eat every piece.
I like that. I
Same
like
thing
that.
here. There's the same parts here. See, they don't like it when one person's bigger than another.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I have, so this one was Mr. Mary John and Hazel DeRosac, and all the perps put them in vats of acid. Boy, I was in a hurry when I did this, I guess. And a DEW on School Sisters of Notre Dame. And they visualize all this. This one is shoot and hit that Israeli woman and air bomb the hillside. A spike through Hazel DeRozak's head, air bomb, and a tsunami. And this is a spike through Mr. Mary John's head, the DEW on the chapel, and School Sisters, and a tsunami. I just, I love how creative they are. A rocket was electricity in the mouth of perps until fried. And he visualized probably 10 different houses he was at, their perps. Jet bomb each house and then sink the lake shore. Same thing. Oh, this one was sledgehammer the perps' brains, because this was where they had to eat brains. Acid rain to fill the place, and it turns into a big whirlpool, and takes all the devils down to hell. 500 jet bombs, an atom bomb on the city. It's like, okay, same thing there. Oh, and this guy that put on the skin suit, on the roof of the
Oh,
butcher shop, said, I want his flesh suit to smother him. Smother the cult leader. She didn't know what to call it. Eat him alive and then jet bomb the place.
can we go back? Who
Hmm.
was it again that when they were eating the live brains, those guys,
Yeah, that was Brandy. And Lizzie had to do the chopping stuff at
what
the butcher shop.
on the chart, what emotional impact level do
They're
you have?
tens.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, nines or
Yeah,
tens,
you gotta
probably.
have like -12 for that one.
I know. I've thought about that. Should I go to like a scale of 15?
There. Oh, it's interesting we're talking about it. You know what? This is very quite. I think you might want to give yourself permission for these real because
Well, and check this out, this
how do
chart.
you
Well,
get
I'll
worse?
finish with that, but check
How do you
out
get
this chart
worse?
now, the emotional intensity chart, because I've got so many parts that are in the 7, 8, 9, and 10s. Look at this. This is where I've sorted out by age.
It may be worth. No,
Look
I
at
hadn't
that.
thought
This
about
is
it, but yeah, look,
this is
there we
1,
go.
2, this is 3, 4, 5, and this is from 7 to 10. It's like it's not balanced anymore. They used
Because
to all kind of run
some
along each
some
other.
of those are just
They're
way.
horrendous. I know.
So that'll be
So,
interesting. Maybe do almost minus, give yourself an extra -10, down to -20 and see what happens with all the parts. That
yeah,
really, in your case, I
I
mean,
think 15 might be appropriate because the 10s are awful enough, but yeah, I mean, the added horror of I agree. Yeah, maybe to
I
15.
really think so because I don't think that's interesting. We're talking about it. I don't think -10 captures
Does
enough.
it justice?
Okay,
Yeah.
that's very interesting. Good for you. That's interesting that that just came to my mind
I've
because
thought of that many
the
times,
the
and
eating of
I
the
would always
brains
say, well, for
that
now, let's just go to
yeah.
10, and
I
then
know. Sorry about that.
we can spread it out later, 'cause
That's right. I don't want to
I'd
overwhelm you.
rather do this work
Yeah,
right here now
good for
and
you.
get
That's right.
all the parts. Okay.
Good for you. Good
Then
for
we
you.
can flesh out the depth
Okay.
and level and
Yep.
compare and
Pardon the
whatever.
pun there, huh?
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so this was in case Angie, this is in my room where they were messing with me, in case Angie and Mary, in that very door, that connected me and Angie's room, shot with a shotgun. So they're encased in the door, and now I'm taking a shotgun and killing them.
Yeah.
And now the door falls with them in it, full of shotgun shell. And we're gonna stomp them to death after, and then blow up the house with a nuclear bomb. This was Dave, my boyfriend, strangled Dave and the perp, hang them from a tree in dog collars. We're gonna
Good.
burn the whole place down and then light them on fire.
Good.
The next one is strangled Dave and perp, smash their heads with a sledgehammer, and God can blow them to hell in quicksand.
Yeah.
This was a dagger in Dave's heart with 50 grenades on the environment. This is yeah, this is the army stuff. We'll put leads in the perps mouths, burn them to dust with 10 directed energy. And this was funny, John, because I didn't realize it till after, but there's 10 parts. And when Armstrong did this months ago, he said, I want 10 directed energy weapons.
Uh,
For me to discover months later, there's 10 parts.
yeah.
So each one, yeah. So leads burned to dust and 10 directed energy weapons on Fort Bliss. And then this was the waterboarding. So we're going to ice pick in their eyes, machine gun them to shreds, drown them in the Rio Grande. And then, and again,
I like
again,
it. Yeah, yeah.
again, 10 parts that we discovered months and months and months ago, not the parts, but this part wanted to destroy the environment with 10 DEWs. And guess what? There's 10 parts.
Yeah.
And I thought that was fascinating. They were telling me then, and I didn't know. I just thought they were super angry. This one is a DEW of Fort Bliss. I forget what the dome meant.
The reason I was laughing is so specific. Drown in the
They
Rio Grande,
are.
right? It's great. It's great.
Yeah, like the dome was that we're going to put a dome over the whole area, directed energy weapon into that area. We're going to cut a circle around it, incinerate it, sink it to hell, and fill all the domes with acid. So as all this fell, the domes would fill with acid and then go down to hell with it.
Yeah.
And this one was, oh yeah, like Eden, the mobster thing, the SRA at the mobster house.
Yeah.
She had already destroyed her prison with acid, but now her extra part is saying, no, let's tie them up by their genitals, all the perps. We're gonna whip them with razors,
Yeah.
on those whip things with razors on them until they're mush. Then we're going to boil them in oil and then sink the whole place down. They get very specific. And there's no way in the world I would ever think of any of these things. So now that I've read them to you, I'll make them white. And then I got to do the ones that are these should be green because they're done. Yellow is usually just means I need to do them. So I got to do you guys again. I'm sorry. We'll do that tonight. Let me write that down so I don't forget.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure she did it, but somehow I put the wrong thing or someone switched my
Yeah.
Teresa, Zap, and Toos. So we'll do it again. They'll get a double whammy. So I'll save that. And oh, this was the other thing I think I'm going to change or evolve, I guess. Obviously, this with the number system, but instead of separating this section out by the sevens, the eights, the nines, I'm just going to go in here and sort by age. Actually, I could just do it right now. That way, the parts that are all the same age and went through the same incident, actually, I need to do the whole thing. I don't want to lose their recordings. All right, so let me move this, sort. We could see how this, so first sort by, I need to delete that level.
I forgot.
First
So
sort by
Excel, you can do a
age.
very dynamic. You
Oh
can.
yeah, yeah, and then sort. So we're gonna go by age first, then by impact, then by name. So let's see how this turns out now. And I'll have to, readjust those sizes. And it will take each line, it won't scramble, it'll keep it all in order. So like here, Tallulah, now I can see her all together. She starts off with steel and goes to Jewel, let's just make you, I guess, green. So now I can look
Oh,
at her
good.
in the
Yeah.
whole and go, okay, I got three guardians, one backup. Everybody else is
That's
trauma.
invaluable. Good for you, Diana. That's
Everybody else is trauma bonded and obedient, and there's a few parts that want help.
wow.
Because I was really struggling having these numbers separated. I think this is more effective
I think you're right.
keeping it in by their age. And
And you'll
again,
probably, as a matter of fact, you'll probably, if you go back to that, what you're probably going to find is for each of the parts, it's like a bell-shaped curve, right? That it starts out like any incident. They don't know what's going to happen. Now you have the huge, massive pain.
oh, I'll show
Actually,
you
guys.
that. I'll show you
So,
that because that's reflected in
and
the
that's like in the new chart you were putting together.
impact graph.
That's right. That's right.
Open up, there we go.
And so that's where
Here's that age range.
that's right. And so the bulk of, not the bulk of it, everybody's going to need to vent, but the ones that were really taking the majority of it have to really, really vent.
See, and I'm thinking I might even want to break this up. I think it's between 4 to 7 years old. And I might just want to do the age of 4, the age of 5, the age of 6, the age of
Correct.
7. Because
Correct.
there's and so this is where all these little parts were.
Yeah.
You're startled, you're going, yeah, let me see. I just gotta make it bigger. So you can't really see the whole. What is that, Tate? So we're over here. Atlas. Did it start with Atlas? No, Atlas was. Yeah, this is where we're startled out of bed, going to the river, and now we
Okay. There we
see
go.
the fires,
There we go.
and now we you know, have to get on the altar. Getting on the altar, we see the bodies being brought in, they're being fried. Now I'm getting married, seeing a demon. I sneak away, whatever. Yeah, you can see it all reflected here. An incident starts off here and just slowly cascades all the way down. And you
That's right.
might have a reprieve, but then you're back into the insanity.
That's right.
And who is this June? The incident ends here, where okay, we're getting
Well,
say
you only had that
trying to
reprieve
save
because,
mom, getting beat up. Now I'm getting electrocuted for keeping my mouth shut.
and
So maybe I
you
should.
only had you only had the reprieve because Rocky was able to get away.
And now I should put the presence of God in there.
Absolutely. That's right. That's right.
So what is it? Insert a shape line. So you could say this is the start of an incident.
Okay, good. That's right.
Oh shoot. I want to make it white. Is that it? Yeah. Okay. And then we have, oh, come on. Copy, paste. Well, it's not doing it. Copy, paste. No. So we'll just do it again. Insert, I guess.
Or
No, not what I
maybe
wanted to
it's still
do.
engaged. You have to kind of just tap anywhere, get it on. Although I
Okay,
guess it still should be able to paste, huh?
I know. But then the incident ends here. And we'll make that white. And then
Yeah,
I'll
that's invaluable
copy
right
and
there.
paste that. Well, no, not happening there. I don't know why that's, we hit save.
Yeah.
And yeah, where was I hiding? Oh, so it is already in there. So this incident really
Oh,
ends.
oh, right there.
right there. Yeah.
See, this is invaluable because it shows
Just
people
one
how many.
incident. Yeah. How you
There you
start
go.
off, even though I was asleep in bed, would you really call that a -4 or -5? But the part's experience
Of
wakes
course.
up from sleep thinking you're safe and instantly puts you in a 5, you know, and then, it's just this stair step down to chaos,
Okay,
chaos,
now
chaos.
here's a question for you, right? Okay, now this will be a very okay, you're going to do some very unique internal research. Okay, this will be a really this is a question I've had. So here we go. This will be for you to process. Now, okay, I'm sorry, Sylvia. Okay, so it gets too much for Sylvia, understandably. So can you enlarge that a little? I'm sorry,
Sure, yeah.
okay, Sunny. Okay, so this
And it's
is
funny, they all wanted S names until we got to here. So
okay.
Sylvia,
So
Sunny, Scotty, Selma, Steele, Stacy.
okay,
So
so the
they
question,
like exist together
okay,
in a continuum.
so the question is, um, who was the backup? Okay, thinking in terms of tag team. Okay, because this is really invaluable. So it starts with Sylvia, and then it became too much. So Sonny, so my hunch is Sonny,
Scotty.
Scotty, and Selma stepped in. But now the question is with Steele, did Steele, this is very interesting. I mean, they all stepped in for Sylvia and they all stepped in for you. But when Steele stepped in, was Steele
Yeah.
stepping in for Selma or was Steele stepping in for Sylvia?
I always imagine they're stepping in for the one right
Okay,
before
that's it. See, and you're gonna be the resident expert. So this will be very interesting.
because they're all just terrified and don't know
That's
what
right.
to go
That's right.
on.
So in a way, then you've got subparts, subparts, meaning
I
the
guess so,
protectors,
yeah.
secondary protectors. And so to be able then to do the healing, so here's, I guess, my hunch, but then this would be for you guys to really hone in. So then um, Selma then in a way, or what, Steel?
Yeah,
God,
Selma, this is startle, robes, stairway, the van, getting to the river. Oh geez. I'm glad I keep my, my notes. Okay, wait. And seeing the dupes placed, seeing mom. So we're at the river's getting set up now. We move into putting me on the altar. They were like doing their little ritual ceremony and name me, and I'm singled out, put on an altar. I don't know what's going on. Then who's Ezra? Oh, so as I'm standing up there, I'm watching the children being brought to the fire. Then the children are put on the fire. Then, as the children are being burned alive, I'm getting married. Then a demon comes and swoops in. And then Miles is the man platter. So I'm off the altar now. The man is being brought in and he's getting cut up, and now I'm being served his body. Nico is watching everybody eat. I sneak off to the river to vomit, wash my face, swish out my mouth. Then I get caught, taken to the orgy, um, pushed down. I decide to hide, and I'm freaked out that I'm going to be discovered. Oh my God, it is the heightened of panic. I'm going to be killed because Corbin's gonna telling on me because I'm not being a good wife. And now we're hiding and we have some safety, you know. And then okay, sunrise comes. I run to mom. I get whacked in the head because I'm at mom's side. Let me see. Oh, those are all the D's. And isn't it interesting again that this group of parts they're all boys and they all start with a D, even though the original part was an R that went to hid. Once he was hidden, they became D's. And again, and were all A parts. So Archer was sunrise, or no, Archer is running. I run to mom, I get smacked in the head, and then the next day I'm punished by being beaten more. So I'm beaten a little bit here, beaten a lot here, and now I'm being electrocuted into talking, and I don't. And then,
So let me ask you a
time
question.
goes by a day or two, and Tate goes out to play with his friends and gets buried.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. I'm just thinking, here's part of why I'm zooming in on this, part of the point I'm zooming in.
Yes.
Okay, now, is that Dever?
Where?
Um,
Denver. Oh, geez, I spelled his name wrong. Sorry, little dude.
okay, Dever. Okay, now, this is for the purpose of processing and healing, helping somebody heal. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sorry. Gotta
Yeah, it's
fix
fine.
it when I see it.
That's okay. No, that's right.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so I could see, and this is how the perps work it. So they know that when Riley went to the Rock, okay, so we've got, then in a way it would be Denver.
Hmm.
Okay,
Well, that's
so,
Riley right here, Rocky. He snuck
okay,
through the ground.
okay,
Once he
so,
was at the rock, then he was safe because God was hiding him.
okay, so where a lot of the internal conflict comes in, so I'll just say this, then you give me your sense of this. So let's say I'm an evil perp, I'm harming this kid through an incident like this. Okay. Now, unless I'm going to have that kid with me the full time, I got to make sure that kid never talks. So I'm going to play a mind game on them to make sure they monitor and keep themselves quiet.
Hmm.
So if I'm an evil perp, me doing that chess match that as one coach against the other.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So then what they're going to do, so let me ask if this resonates here.
Because
So
technically, this should have all been crashed here in the orgy and eating and drinking and being raped. And this should have all been here, but God didn't have
that's
it
right.
go there.
So who ran when they had a chance?
Archer. The sunrise came up because all night he'd been thinking about helping mom, but knew that he couldn't, God said, no, stay here, stay here, stay here. But he said, when you see the sunrise, then you can go. When there's enough light, go. And I think the idea there was that because they don't do these things out in the broad daylight.
That's right.
So it will be safe then. When you have enough light, then you can go.
Okay,
And yeah,
so
you're going to have to go back into the lion's
here
den,
we
so
go.
to speak. So you're running back into the lion's den, into their environment. So
Yeah.
you're running, you reach mom and you get smacked several times or beat, not really beat, but just what the fuck, pushing and, whatever. And then the next day, stronger beating. So technically, this should be at a lower impact level, Amy. And then the electrocutions. So this is to make me talk. So imagine that Amy is right here instead of up there. So Amy's here. And so she's getting beaten up into talk. She doesn't talk. And then electrifies me to talk, but I don't talk. And then they finally say, well, okay, we're exhausted. Not she's exhausted, but we are
Yeah.
exhausted.
Yeah.
She's not going to talk. We've proven she's not going to talk. She's not even talking to us. So let's go to bed and we'll have Corbin take care of her because he's her husband and he should take care of his woman. And then that's what led into a day or two later getting buried and then all of Tate's parts happening. And
Okay.
this is where Tate's parts end, is at this line. The SRA stopped, and then, time goes by and MK Ultra happens,
Okay, so
which
let me
it's
ask,
just
which is
mind
interesting
blowing.
with the MK Ultra. I just saw it's the intervals are much more scientific. This is much more erratic. Um,
Oh, yeah, I never thought of that.
okay,
Yeah.
now,
Because the MK Ultra just sends you down to a 10 and keeps you there. But this is environmental, and it brings you in a step down stage. Like I said, this should have been all down here, but God intervened.
yeah. Okay, so one of the ways that the perps, a very powerful way that the perps operate and they keep the kids quiet is they're going to pit parts against parts. So so let me
Oh,
ask you. So we've got
well, I
Arch.
would imagine that would be,
So Archer made a break for it. Archer was going to go help mom, correct?
yeah,
Okay.
Archer is
So
running.
thinking about how the perps operate, they know that Archer is a liability.
Yeah,
And so they're going to say to Archer, or actually, then they're going to, at a future event. So let me ask, see if this sounds familiar. Then they're going to take somebody like Tallulah
yeah.
or somebody who.
Well, Devin is the interject of the actual
Okay, there we go.
D.
Okay, so does this seem like familiar? Because then they would tell Devin to keep an eye on Archer because if Archer ever talks, and who was the first? Who was the alter that got startled?
Tallulah's the one, Riley presented himself to me first, and then Tallulah came second. So he was the first guard. She's the second guard. So I
Okay,
wonder if
I'm sorry,
Tallulah,
who? Okay, Riley is the first.
Rocky, the one hiding in the rock.
Okay, but the one that so one would possibly be aligned with kind of aligning with the aggressor to maintain
I
the.
would think that would be Devon or even Tallulah herself because she was the special goddess of the night.
Okay, there. So, because of the trauma bond, then what they're going to do is they would tell Tallulah and Devin if Archer ever talks, we're going to hurt. And who's Startle? What is her name?
Sylvia up here.
We're going to hurt Sylvia or we're going to hurt somebody else. And therefore, that becomes the suicidal program or trigger.
Well, and it's funny because Sylvia is the one who was startled, and that's why that was before I had any when I was amnesic and someone would walk into my room when I was asleep, I would always startle. So it was like startle was the one that got woke up and went, "Oh my God." And then everything got pushed down again.
Yeah.
So it startles the trigger to maintain the amnesia. Even though she's only at a 5, it triggers all
That's right.
this.
That's right.
So that startle button triggers all this. And the guards, yeah, probably Tulula or Devon, get in place and say, shut up.
Okay, that's where I'm
Startle is the PTSD,
okay,
amnesic
so
PTSD.
it might be then that Tallulah and Devon were told that if Art, for instance, if Archer ever talks, then we're going to hurt a little blue or something. Does
Or
something like
anybody, yeah.
okay?
Any of the
Does that
perps that want help.
does
Yeah.
that feel familiar with what they did? Pit one against the other?
Oh, they're saying yes. I don't know consciously how or why, but yeah, I mean, they have a connection
So I
to
think
each
that's how
other.
because they know on the inside everybody's separate.
Or no, here's where it is. Just for this particular circumstance. Okay, so my boyfriend or husband walks into my bedroom, startles me awake. And so what they're going to do is they're going to threaten my relationship with Chris because what am I going to do but lash out at Chris?
That's right.
So
That's
they're
right.
going to destabilize my personal relationship. And if it continues, if it goes on, that would be sabotaging the part of me that wants to be married.
Okay, that's right, because then your husband's going to get all the intensity that's down here.
Right. And so then the arguments ensue, and I'm going to impose rules. Well, don't ever come in my room, or, and you don't respect me and you don't love me. Because if you did, you'd X, Y, and Z. And he's just going, all I wanted to do is get a pair of socks.
Yeah, right. Um,
But for me, when I'd get startled, I didn't go there. I'd be like, well, of course you can get some socks. That's my PTSD. I'm sorry. But yeah, if you're not I guess m- stable spot, you might become that might happen.
okay, and that's invaluable for spouses to know, by the way, right? That in order to take the time then to unpack what happened. But
Yeah,
where I
yeah. So yeah,
where
I
I
bet you that these parts that have the effect of the demon,
yeah,
yeah, say, you know what? I'm going to wreak havoc in your life. You want to startle me to get a pair of socks? Well, screw you. I'm going to give you a living hell. I'm not going to make your breakfast. I'm not going to this. Because you startled me. A less emotionally stable or mature person, it would just turn into a fight. Well,
that's right.
get your socks the night before. No, can you? Or you should be, the petty little arguments.
Yeah, all the PTSD is driving that.
I could see how that would be triggered by that little PTSD moment. But if you don't have an emotional maturity or intellectual understanding, then yeah, it's going to spiral out of control and you might end up getting divorced over a pair of socks.
Okay, there we go. Now, I think where I'm going though is the idea that yeah, everybody's separate on the inside.
Yeah.
The perps know that certain
So they
parts are
must
not
allow these certain parts access or power.
well, and they have the emotional rage.
Yeah.
But the idea that they're going to pit one against the other, and so the quote unquote suicidal alters or parts,
See, I can't relate with suicide. I've never had that ever.
probably because you were too darn strong, which is very interesting.
Whenever someone brings up suicide, I don't relate, or maybe it's just I haven't accessed that part yet. I know it's in my MK Ultra programming, insanity and suicide and
Okay, what I'm thinking about the
death.
suicide part is it's not so much, this is what I'm thinking, it's not so much suicide, but on a parts perspective, it is they're probably going to be taking out another part to
Yeah,
prevent something. They're going to keep another part quiet because
yeah,
they can't understand that they're going to be committing suicide.
yeah. I'm blank. I'm not really following along.
Okay, sorry. And so it'll be something that maybe we can continue to process, but I'm thinking like, okay, with this incident, if I'm an evil perp, how am I going to make sure that the kid never talks? Well, they wanted to get it out of you, right? Who was it? Okay, so they're trying to torture you. Uh,
Right, yeah,
but
here.
then probably what an evil perp is going to do is they're going to try to figure out.
They want
Uh,
to try and get at these guys. It's just popped into my head
okay,
because
okay, there you go. So
this
they're
is what
trying.
gave me the strength to not talk here.
Okay, that's right. So they
So
wanted
they're
the
probably going to
name,
want to take out these parts,
correct?
the protection of God.
And now let's say they got the names. Okay, this is fitting in. Okay, so let's say they got the names of the five. What do you think they would have done with that information?
If my grandma and grandpa would have found out where I was and what I did, They
Yeah.
probably would want to punish these parts
Okay. So how would they
to
punish them?
not knowing God, to not remembering that experience, to not to somehow squash the idea of God in my subconscious
Okay, there you go.
and
So,
in my lower levels.
okay, so here's my thinking, and this will just be for you to let it percolate kind of in. So there's one of two ways they can do it. Either go directly at the five or as it were, sick, or meaning turn over like a
Or
god.
like seven of them, because it was all the way to here
Okay, so we've got a
where they
group
had the
of them.
courage of God to go to, we were following God's instructions all the way to here.
Okay, so either we're going to make an example out of those to where the others hate them, or I'm going to take the cult, if I'm a perp, I'm going to take the cult loyal parts and pit them and make sure the cult loyal, powerful parts, keep those seven in check.
Well, that's actually what happened because I did Tallulah. If Riley had not surfaced, Tallulah was below Riley. She came, her revelations came months after Riley. So it would be, yeah, these cult loyal parts because Riley was being disobedient and rebellious
You're
and
right.
ran away and found safety. But these parts were just, okay, I'm in the ceremony, okay, here. Now, granted, something happened here that made me go to the river and wash out my mouth. And I believe yeah, I wrote in my journals that I put my thumb down my throat. So something God had me go do that here.
Yeah.
So if that hadn't happened, it would have just been a long line of cult loyal, obedient, detestable crap. And this may not have even happened, but this happened because I was disobedient here.
And it's interesting that your grandfather knew he couldn't gain the loyalty. So as long as he knew you guys were never going to talk, because that was the goal anyways,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
whether overtly
Except
or
I
oh,
didn't talk because God gave me the strength
that's right.
because of this.
And so they had to go to more overt threats, which risks prison time
Right,
rather
which was
than
burying me
and
and
rather than the
torturing me.
emotional manipulation of the of Stockholm syndrome kind of thing.
Actually, this goes out even further now that I think about it, because this was, yeah, see, when I changed the graph, the stuff didn't move with it. So that's where MK Ultra started. This was all SRA stuff.
Wow.
So yeah, they bury me. I
Okay.
have all those parts. And then I get the courage to tell mom, which probably came from this strength here
Yeah. Yeah.
because I want to save her. I can't save her. Well, let me see if I can just talk to her. And then I get tortured for that and become in despair. And then, we go home, life resumes, and, MK Ultra's introduced into my life. Dad's like, well, enough of this, because mom refused to go back to dad's parents ever again after that.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
dad had to figure out another way. Okay, well, if we can't do SRA, I was in the military and we did MK Ultra. So,
Do you think this is the point that he was going to start making money?
right, yes, right there.
What age?
6 or 7, 6, still the same age.
So that'll be interesting, maybe as you begin to interact with other survivors to find out from them. When did MK Ultra start?
Yeah,
If it's right about age 5 or 6.
yeah.
My
So
hunch
this
is
is,
there's probably a standard time, like the kid starts to go to kindergarten or first grade. And
yeah,
that,
because dad was taking me to those mob bars here. Let's see if I can find them. It's so tiny. Yeah, right here. And that's where I was tested. And actually I should put Jasper. Jack is Jasper. Well, well, Jasper's the part, Jack was the human. So it was I think it was with Sabina where my IQ was tested. And I think Dad started getting the idea about using MK Ultra, but all this is going back to Grandma's house and Dad trafficking me and all that business here. And
Because
then we wind up over here going back to this is where we got our dog,
the MK Ultra, I'm thinking like the SRA cards, the gate program,
yeah, that was all in the previous graph.
but that's going to start at about age 5 or 6 when a kid goes to school. So you wonder if like
Hmm.
MK Ultra waits until the kids start school to begin that more methodical.
Well, I think I was in kindergarten. I think I went through kindergarten here, started kindergarten, and summer comes along and this stuff happens, right? And then summer's over and now I'm back in school
In
first grade
first grade. But so I bet for a lot of MK Ultra is going to start in first grade.
or even kindergarten. I
Okay,
mean,
yeah.
if they don't have SRA. But yeah, I never thought about that sequence of events before.
So they're allowing the cults,
To prime and prep.
right? And almost like the farm team. Okay, they're gonna do the splitting, the heavy lifting, the traumatizing, and now we're gonna take it to a new level, the systematic stuff from there.
Yeah, yeah, because yeah, this was the
Because then it weeds
beginning.
them out. So by the time you reached that
I
age,
wonder if these aren't actually lower. Come down here. Because Tanya's the prison guard that was installed with MK Ultra, and everything that was installed with MK Ultra was that, the ear, the visual, the whole thing. So I'm just realizing right now that I think Juliet, actually, all four of these should probably be at a crash 10 level.
wow, okay.
And Connor, actually, so, and Dana, all of them. These should all be 10s now that I think about it.
So maybe
And
if
this
you
is when
do,
Dad started doing it in the basement, and I didn't have earphones. I didn't have the visual,
yeah,
horrific visual stuff going on.
so maybe if you
I
give
think all
yourself,
of this is a crash. See, you're right with MK Ultra, it's more systematic. It just takes you to a 10 and keeps you there.
so you may then want to ponder the idea of doing -20, because then it'll give you even more room.
Yeah. But this was Dad starting his MK Ultra in the basement
Yeah,
and things
yeah,
successively, him becoming more successful with it.
yeah.
And he only took me to, what is this, like an 8, I think. So it's a 5, 7, 6, or wait, 5, 6, 7, 8s, but the MK Ultra was 10s. But what Dad did in the basement was 8s. And then Sage really should be lower too, now that I think about it. And then he buys us a dog and turns me into a dog, which is the same level as this
There's
other,
always a reason why, right? If he's going to do
right?
something
And
nice,
then
no nice.
what is this? Oh, this is the parts that go with the domestic violence. That's this gray area with the drowning and all that stuff. And oh, him kicking me in the stomach on the beach, and then the following summer going up north to that other SRA creepy witchcraft guy up there because he couldn't go back to Grandma and Grandpa's, which was pretty bad, but okay, we'll take you here and still keep you at the level that I can keep you at.
Yeah.
Because it's a whole lot more terrifying when you got 50 people in a group than 5 or 10 people in a group. It's just different. Well, it was for me. So that's fascinating. I know it's 12:20 and you got someone waiting.
Well, at the bottom of the hour,
Okay.
but I wanted to keep
So, but
going.
yeah, so that's fascinating. I'm gonna have to reevaluate everything now.
Yeah, I know you're
Because
enjoying talking to me.
well, no, because as you start with what you know, but the
Yeah,
deeper
that's
you
right.
get, the more depth of level of
That's
understanding
exactly
you
right.
get, and it's a constant reevaluation.
That's right. That's right.
I don't
Yeah,
know that
so
you would ever get to the final, oh,
oh,
okay, this is
I
it.
I think you're getting close. No, I mean there,
I feel like it too, but every time I think that there's more,
but still you're
you
refining
know.
and you're refining it. That's what's so
But
invaluable.
yeah, I mean, if those checklists do it, and like I said, how I had it sorted before by impact level, that was just a way for me to okay, who are all the sevens? Who are all the eights? Who are all the nines? And I'm realizing now that's kind of irrelevant. I need to know what happened in this one incident and how did your levels shift and move.
Sure.
The graph shows you that, but it doesn't show you the who is the guardian, who is the backup, what was everybody else doing? Well, everybody else was trauma bonded and obedient. Yeah. And I keep wondering about that rebellious part, Rocky that went and hid. Rebellion is is it what it in the two or five level? I forget on your chart. I gotta go back here. Rebellion is it's in, let's see, because this is at the top now. See, it's not even in the 5 and 6 level. Rebellion is here at the 1 and 2 level. But I was able, oh, you're not even seeing this. I'm sorry.
And
But I was able to have, unless it was the presence of God with me, able to have that little rebellion at a level at a -5. But if you do it based on your charts, for me, that level, what is it, repressed is just a -1, -2. And then the next level down is, I think it's 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 4, 5, 6. Anyway, do you see what I'm saying? Is rebellion, can it exist in the repressed and the wounded kids level?
yeah,
Or is that the presence of God coming and giving you rebellion at a D? Does that make sense?
it makes sense. It's probably both
So
because
I
that
wonder if we shouldn't add a rebellion column, and maybe that's why someone gets to a 7 or 8 or a 9 or a 10, and they finally just have had enough. They rebel, and then the perps just kill them.
yeah, okay. You can almost call it rebel with a cause
Oh, yeah, like a deeper level of rebellion that God
or
inspired.
resistance. Maybe that's
Maybe that's the word. So maybe we should add that column to the wounded kids
that right because then that would be
level.
the one. Those so you've got like the
So
little things that
rebellion and then resistance, and then the next level down would be uh, rebel with a cause, or whatever you just said. Resistance with what? Oh, I forget what did you say?
yeah, I think I said rebel with a cause, but then ultimately the resistance, like vive la resistance. Uh,
Yeah, so maybe there's levels of resistance at each consciousness level, not just at the subconscious level or yeah,
See,
subconscious.
that's where you're going to be able to really tap in and really refine because they'll be able to.
I've been wondering about that for the longest time. I'm like, how can I rebel? That's a quality at the higher level when I'm at an 8. They're like, no, I did.
Yeah. So
And
that
I was like,
Well, and that would be a part that, so then you have two little parts that can kind of make a break for it and disclose. One would be the very childlike part. I don't know, the ones that are still wanting to be saved immediately, and then but have been fearful. But the other would be the resistance or the rebel with the cause that is still at a very deep level, but just looking for the opportunity. So that means the gatekeepers or the firefighters or suppressors are really having to keep an eye
And
on them.
maybe that's how the suicide comes in, because you've
Okay.
got that rebellion at a level 10, and you've got the cult loyal part at a level 10, and finally they're just like, you can rebel at a level 2, I don't care. A level 5, okay, maybe we'll put some pressures on you. But once you rebel at a level 10, no, no,
because because that
that's the suicide.
okay, there you go. So the suicide again, the suicide parts aren't envisioning hurting themselves. They're just doing a
They
mechanical.
just want help.
There you go. So that really deep resistance is the most powerful because when it comes up, it's going to contain the issue of
Maybe that would be called wrath, God's wrath, the
okay,
rebellion,
righteous
the
indignation.
rebel at the level 10.
Okay, righteous
Trying to think of
indignation.
what word, righteous indignation,
There we
or
go.
would wrath be more
I
descriptive?
think probably all of it. Yeah, you keep doing it. It'll really um,
Because that's I don't know, when you talk about God with the grapes of wrath and the stomping them, to me
mhm.
that's a level 10.
Yeah,
He's just
correct.
had enough and he's done.
Correct.
And that would be maybe him entering you and inspiring you at that deepest level.
That's right.
Here's your window of opportunity, skedaddle. So
Okay,
now
there
you
you go.
got 4 minutes. I don't want to
Oh, for sure.
keep you longer.
It's very much righteous indignation. So, but it's unbroken. So maybe that's a way to describe it, right? That's a part that is unbroken. They might call it untamed, but it's
Okay.
unbroken, so that if it gets a chance to break, and that's really where the 5 or 6 or 7, right? That's what Grandpa was trying to get at because he knew those were going to be a problem.
Oh, right. So there must be a rebellion aspect at each level of consciousness that I'd like to think that God just built in.
God preserved.
And that if you're turning selfish and aligning with the perps more and more, then that's not going to be activated. But if you're not aligning, then God will infuse that, or enliven it or whatever, or come and help you. That's fascinating to think about. Anyway, yeah, I don't want to I don't want to override your other person's time. So,
Wow.
but we could talk for
Well,
hours.
doing good work. Okay, I'll be very interested in finding out now what comes from.
See how it evolves. Yeah. Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you. Well, let me
Okay.
pray.
All
Let me pray.
righty.
Lord, thank you again that Diana and I can work together. Lord, thank you for her tenacity, her dedication to truth. Lord, thank you also for the parts being willing to step forward or continue to help them to risk being able to disclose to Diana um, what is true, the finer points of all this, because it really matters. And Lord, with the parts that have heard this, that have that inside information, help them to be willing to share with her so that she and I can learn, so that ultimately we can help others. So thank you for preserving them through the most heinous of Nazi stuff. So thank you for being with them and for letting them know that when they were being hurt, that you were being hurt, and that it was just storing up wrath. So Lord, thank you for your righteous indignation and your wrath and your promise to recompense, to repay. So thank you for that. And keep your hand upon your protective hand upon Diana and all the parts. Help them to know that you are setting your angels around about them. Lord, protect her computer. Prevent any of these wiles of the devil, whoever is doing this or whatever is doing this. Lord, protect them and protect the computer so that she can continue her work. Lord, again, thank you for the sense of mission that she has, and also continue to work on Chris. Lord, deep within his heart, unlock those parts that are tucked away so that he can finally begin to see what Diana's working on. So we'll trust that you'll continue your work in his life. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Welcome. Well,
All righty. Well,
excellent. You're my Pro Bowl level quarterback. You are. You're just
well, you're a great coach. You get me there. You get me there because I would have never thought of a lot of these things. So we're a good team.
There you go.
All right. Well, have a great
Okay.
day.
Plan on talking on Friday.
Definitely.
Okay.
Okay.
I did that.
Bye.